two dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the two dudes and our attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E. The two dudes with the attitudes that bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
It's Two Dudes with Attitudes, a wrestling podcast with your boy Ryan enjoys wrestling in the Heartbreak Dude Denton, and it is our AEW edition where we're going to cover all things Rampage, Collision, the Title Tuesday Dynamite, and our predictions for Wrestledream. But we got to get right into it because we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, and we got some news from our producer with the Mooster, and I just went through puberty. Mr. Ryan, what do you got? What are all the news and things going on?
So we'll go bad news, or we'll go sad news, good news.
It's all bad news, right?
Oh, and then bad news.
Good news. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of good news. So,
all right.
So we'll start off with some sad news. So on Dynamite this week, Christian Cage made a comment about losing Kill Switch, losing his one of his sons, and it was really confusing. And I did not know what he was referring to, but apparently the wrestler known as Kill Switch, or formerly known as Luchasaurus, is dealing with serious, potentially career-ending issues. He was found. He was recently found in his house, collapsed, and he was taken to a hospital, and he had pneumonia in both of his lungs, and now I'm trying to get the report up, but. Let me see. Is this it? Yeah. So he was hospitalized late last month in September and found to have extremely low oxygen level at the time. He was told that he could previously he was previously reported to be able to resume training in about a month, this was September 30th. So around Halloween, he was going to be able to resume training. But as of September 5th today, or October, what's today? October 8th.
10th. Today's the 10th.
Yeah, as of October the 10th, he is not back in the gym, and he will not be back in the gym for a while. And he's not going to be back wrestling probably for a while. And it's hopefully he will be back wrestling for a while. This is all according to Brian Alvarez. But apparently he got the flu and had a bad oxygen uptake as a result of whatever it was, and it turned into pneumonia. And he's at a high risk for a relapse. And the big concern is that after all this, they've been running test after test, and apparently there may be permanent damage. They found calcification in a heart valve, and his body is not producing iron, and he's got a whole bunch of tests that he apparently has to take. It's bad. It's bad enough to keep him that he's out of the hospital apparently, but he still has to do oxygen. So Luchasaurus probably will not be wrestling anytime soon. And it's a shame because I love Luchasaurus. He's one of my favorite wrestlers in all of AEW and all of wrestling. I just enjoy his character. I think he's damn good in the ring. Apparently in real life, he's like a super smart guy. He was on Big Brother. But this is really, really sad news. And, we all saw what happened to Bray Wyatt. I feel like Bray Wyatt kind of had similar things to this, and same thing with Brody Lee. So, this stuff is serious. So best wishes out to Luchasaurus, Kill Switch.
That's all I can say. Best wishes, prayers up. Please get over this. And even if you don't come back to the ring again, just be healthy. Just be on this earth. That's all
we want, man. So, that's all we want. So
true. And hopefully we do see him in the ring again. Yeah.
Yeah, because he is absolutely fantastic in the ring. He's one of I'm not a big fan of like those monster gimmicks or the dinosaur gimmicks or anything, but he has made
he's
it
the
work.
Only dinosaur gimmick.
But I mean, like, but I mean, he's basically this era's Kane, and he's made it work, and I dig him. And he's great in the ring. He's fantastic in the ring.
He really is.
Hopefully he comes back better than ever. And unfortunately, probably never going to get the Christian Cage Luchasaurus turn where he cost him his cash in. So, but that's the least important of the issues.
100%. Yeah. All right. Now some
All
good
right.
news. Cheer us up a little bit with that sad
Yeah,
news.
so some good news. To kind of, because we're going to be talking a lot about Tony Khan this week, so I want to give him some praise. But Adam Copeland was on he was on Busted Open this week, and Adam Copeland lives in Western North Carolina, where there's a lot of flood damage and from Hurricane Helene. And apparently Tony Khan has really been helping out with FEMA workers with Hurricane Helene relief. He sent Starlink devices to the Asheville Police Department to help with hurricane relief efforts during the devastating impact of the hurricane. And he has just been a huge advocate for everything that's been going on. He's been helping, a lot of the disaster aid and everything out there. So Adam Copeland said that he was with FEMA crews from New Jersey. So they're out there, and these guys haven't stopped either. Tony Khan provided Starlink devices, which they kind of ran out of, and he sent a bunch so Tony Khan ordered a bunch more to be sent to the Asheville Police Department. He's been awesome through this whole thing, just throwing up help wherever he can. So, good for Tony Khan for reaching out. And I mean, we can say a lot about Tony Khan and the way he runs the company, but I think deep down, he is a really good guy, and he cares about his wrestlers. He cares about humanitarian efforts and everything like that. And, that's just a sign that he is a good guy.
Yeah, I don't think that's a deep down. I think he is just a good guy.
Yeah,
I know he's made dumb comments about Vince in the past and Bischoff, and he goes at people, but that doesn't make you not a good guy. That just makes you defensive and a human being. I think the best part about this is that anybody can do a kind deed, right? Anybody, because they want attention. So a lot of people, which you'll see on TikTok, social medias, and so on, where people will do a kind deed and record it and post it and say it's not about the attention. There was an episode of Friends about this where Phoebe was trying to get, or somebody was trying to get Joey or someone, that you can do an act, Phoebe, of kindness without doing it for yourself. And she was trying to find a way. And this is kind of like a perfect example that Tony Khan is doing all these phenomenal things.
Yeah.
We haven't heard it from Tony Khan. We heard it from Adam Copeland, who went out and brought it out and said that this is what he was doing. So that makes it even more. I mean, even if he just did it and got attention, you're still doing kind things. But a true kind deed is when you do it with no hope of reciprocation and people saying like, "Great job, you did this. Wow," you know what I mean? So major props on Tony Khan for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the first thing Adam Copeland said when he was interviewed by Busted Open. The first line was, "I'm sure he wouldn't ever want me to tell this, but they needed some stealth Starlinks instead of, I guess, the big ones that Elon Musk sent aren't necessarily good for getting out in the mountains with the reception and everything. With these things and drones over top to be able to start locating people and helping people." So I reached out to Tony Khan, and guess who sent out a bunch of stealth Starlinks to the Asheville Police Department? I'll say it because, he's been awesome throughout this whole thing, just throwing help wherever he can. And I mean, so many people have been, but when you get an area that can't get their hands on Starlinks, and these particular ones, it's like, okay, we got to reach outside here. And, I just thought of him, and sure enough, he came through. So, I mean, the first thing is Tony Khan wouldn't want me to tell this, but here's what he did. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
and I believe that. So
yeah, I do too. So kudos to TK for that.
And dang, it got worse, dude. This other one hit yesterday, right? And it took out the whole roof of Florida. A stadium of the Tampa Bay Rays, and that's scary, man. It took off a stadium roof. That's prayers, man. It is scary out there to all of you. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's more hurricanes forming too in the freaking coast. Like, stop it! It's stop. We don't need any more. I don't get it. But and now we're gonna get into so we had the sad news and we had the good news. Now we're gonna go to, I guess, some bad news or some concerning news. So speaking of how great Tony Khan is, his ratings were not so great for this October 8th edition of AEW Dynamite Title Tuesday. And when I say they were not great at all. Viewership dropped by more than half compared to last week. Last week they had 609,000, I believe, for the 5-year anniversary. And this week's episode had a whopping 329,000 viewers, a 52% drop from last week's show. Now it was preempted to Tuesday this week because of baseball playoffs. But last year's title they did the same thing last year when they were preempted, and they went head to head with NXT, and they lost that one. But that one had 600 and something thousand viewers as well. So they didn't go head to head with NXT this time. They went head to head with
first
NXT.
Hour.
Yeah, for the first hour, but not the whole show. And so it was they also changed times. Usually they're 8 to 10 on Wednesdays. This one was 9 to 11 on Tuesday. So that was, and then it doesn't help that NXT's ratings were freaking fantastic in their second show. They had 874,000 viewers and a 0.24 in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic. So not a good sign for AEW as they sign their new TV deal, and the first week out they can't even draw 600,000 people.
Well, here's my take. You ready? And for once, all you people that don't think I like AEW, I'm going to defend AEW. Are you ready? Here's what it is, right? Here's the problem. NXT, major props. You did back-to-back 800,000, viewership ratings or whatever. Next week, they're going to go back down to their 600,000 range. AEW, they did atrocious. Their worst rating ever on a Dynamite, 329,000 viewers. Next week, they're going to go back up to 600 and something thousand. The thing is that I don't want to ever judge a rating off of a 1 week thing, because AEW did have things going against them. I think if anybody should be blamed for a 329,000 total viewership is all these AEW hardcore nut huggers who were on TikTok, blah, blah, blahing and talking about how much they love it and this and that. You can't tune in on a Tuesday at an hour ahead of a different time. What else are you doing? You all live in your mom's basement.
Yeah.
What were you doing at that time to watch this show? So where were you at is who should be a blame. Agreed. Go ahead. And I have one more point. I
was just going to say too, I think my big issue is it was marketed horribly.
That's the other. Yep.
First of all, you have a show called Title Tuesday, and you have one title match.
That's another problem. Yes.
Which we'll talk about when we get to that. But my other thing is I was on X. I actually watched the show live, and I was on our X account, and I was looking at a lot of the bigger creators and some of their tweets. Them had no idea that the show started an hour later. So I think a lot of people tuned in thinking, they go to Tuesday night at 8:00 and they see the Big Bang Theory. They're like, oh, okay, I'm going to turn it off. I must not be on tonight. And then they don't tune back in at 9:00. So it was marketed horribly. Tony Khan was making matches on a TikTok account that he hasn't used in 2.5 years. And then, but and then like he's only talking about the time difference on X. He didn't say the time on TikTok. It was marketed very, very badly. A lot of people had no idea that it had moved to 9 p.m. on Tuesday night.
Well, and my one negative, because I want to end on a positive with these ratings, is that my one negative is that last week he decided to have Bryan Danielson, Russell Okada in a title versus title match in hopes that it would bring in viewership. And he did it two ways. And this was done purposely. He wanted to do it, announce it last second to try to get those people to jump on really quick. And then he did it for a longer amount of time. The show went over 30 minutes. So that way he can try to pitch another rating by splitting the hours, right? That's how TV works. So he tried to do that. And obviously it failed miserably. As you said, they did 603,000 for an anniversary show. That's pretty bad. That show should have gotten an NXT type of rating. So that number one, he should have saved this for if you're going to have Title Tuesday, you have to at least have one match that's going to bring in the audience to want to wonder, hey, this is a title match that maybe we'll bring more. Even people on X before the show were saying like, oh, we're obviously going to get more title matches. They're going to get announced as the show is going on. And it wasn't. I think that was one big miss. But here's what I'm going to say is the positives, right? We all already know that AEW's ratings are dwindling. This is nothing new. So let's just really quick compare it. Last year, at this time, they were averaging on Dynamite about 1 million an episode, 980,000 an episode at this time. I'm pretty sure about a year ago. Not one. Now they're averaging about 600,000 or so a week on Dynamite, year on and year. So that's about a $300,000 viewership dip. Last year, Title Tuesday did 600 and something thousand, right? That was a 300,000 dip from what they were averaging.
Yeah.
This year they did 300,000. It was about a 300,000. It's all kind of this. That's why I'm saying I don't think it's that big of a deal, because of the fact that it's basically just the same in and same out. They're about the same. They're just already down half their viewerships, or not half, but like 30% down from their viewerships of last year, which we already know. But here's the positive. We're going to go into it right now. Rampage, Collision, Dynamite. When we break down these episodes, they are now telling stories. There is more promos added. There is more things being built. You can gain a lot of weight really fast, right? You know what you can't do is lose a lot of weight really fast. You can down viewerships in 1 second. And Bischoff has talked about this forever. Once you get hot, it's hard to get hot, but once you get hot, woo! But once you start falling down, all of a sudden it's gone. It's going to take a while to get hot, but then you have to try to, keep it. When you get down, it's really hard to get back up. AEW is going to take time. And I think this new dealership, I think this new deal that they have in with Warner Brothers Discovery, and the fact that they are starting to tell stories and building things, and they get away from syringes and bricks and blood, I think they can get back to where they need to go, but it's going to take time. And I don't think WWE hardcore fans understand that. And AEW hardcore fans pretend like it doesn't matter, but it does matter. Ratings do matter. Just like they won't have TV ratings on Warner Brothers Discovery and Max, but they will have viewers. They tally that, how many people are watching the show, 100%. So it's the same difference. So, but just give it time. I don't think this is it did shock me having the worst ever, but when you really relate it to last year, it's pretty much the same drop. It's not much of a difference.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, they did have to move it because of baseball, so they were out of their original time slot. And
there was a lot against them. Yeah,
Britt Baker couldn't be on the show because she was sick, and some of your top draws couldn't make it because of the weather and Hurricane Milton and everything going on with that. So, we just talked about the Western North Carolina relief. So there's no FTR on the card because they also live in Western North Carolina. So a lot of their top acts were not able to make it to the show. So I think he did the best that he could. And to be fair, NXT did stack their show. I mean, you have Randy Orton wrestling on it. You had CM Punk on it the week before, A-Town Down Under, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair. So they stacked their show this week. So, of course, they're going to get a big viewership. But I'll be curious to see what it is next week when it's back to NXT being NXT and AEW is back to being AEW.
I told you, they'll both be back in the 600s again next week. It is what it is. You can't, these are called outliers. If you ever took a statistics class, an outlier is a number that is so far different that they don't count it in your percentage because it's bizarre. It's a freak of an accident, right? So that's what this week was. It was, and we knew it was going to happen. So it is what it is. I think Tony Khan should have tried to figure out something else. Or should have hyped it. Because last week when we did the Dynamite review, I told you that. I said, what the heck? He announced it at the main event. And I was like, what's a Title Tuesday? They announced it at the very end.
I thought it was a special event.
I was like,
I thought it was like a Battle of the Belts thing on it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like maybe they're trying something for this Fox show or the Shockwave. Maybe they're trying something for that. And they're going to see what kind of ratings they draw. But no, it was their actual episode of Dynamite.
And maybe Tony Khan's doing what WWE was doing with SmackDown, man. Like SmackDown at the end of its Fox run right now, they were just like, whatever. We're about to start this new and we'll start anew. Maybe Tony Khan's doing the same thing. Look, I need to worry about the future and January more so than what's going on right now. Maybe that's what he took. And
maybe
it is what it is. We'll see. If next week they pull like a 400,000 or 500,000 rating, which I believe will not happen, then I'm wrong and we can talk differently. But I'm not too worried. And I wouldn't lose sleep if I was anybody in AEW.
Yeah.
So. The rating looks bad, but like I said, compared,
we'll see how it is next week. If it becomes a trend, then we can start worrying about the sink shipping, the ship sinking.
There it is.
But other than that, I mean, I think right now this was an outlier, like you said.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Rampage Collision. I'll start with Rampage, go into Collision. We'll talk about it all. Let's go. Private Party and Shibata defeats the Young Bucks and Jack Perry. Kris Statlander is ready to move on, and so Kamille and Mercedes disagree. Kamille wins a squash match. Anna Jay says, come try her. Deonna Purazzo and Taya Valkyrie discuss their code. Queen Aminata defeats Harley Cameron after Serena Deeb attacks Queen Aminata, but Britt Baker makes the save, and the Acclaim laugh at MXM Collection while Max Caster's rocking that jacket. What's up, dog? Rocking it good, too. Bouncing the boobies in it. And in the main event, the Conglomeration defeats the Learning Tree. Collision, Darby Allin defeats Johnny TV. After the match, Brody King attacks Darby Allin and accepts his challenge at WrestleDream. 80s montage video with the FT Runners. Outrunners then defeat Grizzled Young Veterans. Maybe we should talk about that downfall. Britt Baker wants a title shot. Guess what? So does Willow. But she wants it first, and Mark Briscoe tries again to speak English. Willow defeats Trish Adora after Willow and Mariah May brawl, with Mariah slapping her and running away. Oh, Mariah, you are just... Oof. Claudio tells Wheeler Yuta he can always trust him. Mariah May is upset, and now it'll be Britt Baker versus Willow Nightingale at Dynamite. Winner faces Mariah May at WrestleDream. I'm sure there will be no changes to that. Wheeler Yuta defeats Beef. Yes, Beef is on our screen again.
He's back. Yes.
Guess who's back? Back again. Hook, acting like he's from Compton, calls out whoever attacked Taz. The Conglomeration defeats the Premier Athletes. Lance Archer is backstage, literally just he's just grabbing guys and throwing them around like he's, I actually have enjoyed it. And then in comes Don Callis to ask him, hey, you still represented by Jake the Snake? He grabs a couple more guys, throws them across the area, and then says yes. Mercedes Moné and Kamille bicker with Kris Statlander. Hologram wins a 4-way match to stay undefeated at 13-0, which then we're told is the biggest winning streak in AEW history. There's no way I can believe that. I'm pretty sure I heard that on Dynamite. Undisputed Kingdom talk to Beast Mortis, who literally just grunts.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that his character could not talk. It was super
He's
bizarre.
doing his best Tama Tonga impression. He's
right, but like they understood him, which was even which was even weirder because they were like, "No, dude, like we're better." No, it was very weird segment, but it is what it is. Yeah, Scooby Ruby Roo. Kris Statlander wins a squash and then is laid out by Kamille afterwards. If you haven't seen that collision, go back and watch it. Camille's shirt is insane. Darby Allin is ready for Brody King. And he tells him that the only reason why he's in AEW is because of him. And then we get Emi Sakura, who earns a TBS title shot by winning a non-AEW match in Japan. Make it make sense. And in the main event, Private Party wins a 3-way to earn a tag team title shot to close the show. And that's the Rampage and Collision Week in Review. Let's get through it.
Yeah, so I'll start with Rampage. One of the things that stood out to me was the amount of women that made appearances on this show. It was a very impressive women's showing because at one point we had Kamille, we had Mercedes Moné, we had Anna Jay, Deonna Purazzo, Harley Cameron, Taya Valkyrie, Kris Statlander, Queen Aminata, Serena Deeb, and Britt Baker all make appearances on AEW Rampage. And, you know, we talk about the women's division, and I feel like this, despite WrestleDream only having one women's match on the entire card, I feel like this episode did a really good job of highlighting how talented and how deep AEW's women's division really is. I just wish they would do more with it.
Yeah, but I fully agree. And it was fantastic. I like seeing Mercedes Moné now on our screens. You know what I mean? She has not had a fantastic run. She hasn't even had a good run in AEW so far. I'm glad she's on it. Kris Statlander is a great first opponent, but seeing Britt, and the worst part about it all is that the Hurricane ruined all of this for us because we had so much female presence and then it got taken away from us on Dynamite, which we'll get into. But I fully agree. It was fantastic. And the thing I liked about Rampage, that you named all those females, right? Those are all basically big hitters for the majority of the part. Then we also had Private Party, Shibata, the Young Bucks, Jack Perry was on it. We had the Conglomeration against the Learning Tree. Like, this is a Rampage, folks, with like prime hitters all over this episode. I loved it.
Yeah,
I thought it was good. And yeah, I thought it was better than Collision in the sense that these matches at least felt important. There was really only one squash, but all the matches were pretty good matches for storytelling and they made sense. It wasn't just like, let's throw wrestler A in here to have a squash match so we can build a feud, which we can get into in Collision. That's exactly what Collision did. So Collision just had a bunch of big name wrestlers wrestling people, but they were wrestling Johnny TV, Beef, no name person. Wheeler Yuta wrestled a person I've never even heard of. I mean, we're just having these guys, but it was the build story. I don't think anything happened on Rampage and Collision that was not building a story. Am I wrong? Everything built a story.
Yeah, no, absolutely everything. Even the Don Callis thing with Lance Archer in the backstage. That was, it was curious. It was like, whoa, what's he up to? And then, one of my favorite things about it was Kris Statlander. I am all in, no pun intended, on her new gimmick of being the born again Kristen. I like how what she's doing. I did like Nigel McGuinness highlighting on Collision that she's the defeater of the undefeated, and that's what I want her to run with. That's the gimmick I want her to go with. I want her to go with that because she was the one that beat Jade Cargill the first time around and handed Jade Cargill her only loss in AEW. And now she's going up against Mercedes Moné, who hasn't lost yet, hasn't really wrestled very much, but hasn't lost nonetheless. She should beat her. I think she should beat her, and that should be her gimmick: is the defeater of the undefeated. Run with it and be the TBS champion, and have the longest reign with the TBS champion, and just have a very dominant reign. I'm all in on Kris Statlander right now.
I love everything you said, and Kris Statlander is my Oba Femi and my Tiffany Stratton, where Tiffany Stratton got a title in NXT, and I was like, way too soon. And then she didn't really do much with it. And then she had that final match with Becky Lynch, and it like boosted her, and she has not looked back. Oba Femi won the title way too quick, and I was like, meh. And now with having it, now he's like a star, and I'm all in. Kris Statlander beat Jade Cargill. I thought it was rushed. Her title run was laughable. And now she's come back and she has built herself. And maybe that's why I'm not a professional wrestling booker, because I wouldn't put someone in green by seeing potential. But I think all of them having those early title runs have helped them to where they are today. And Kris Statlander is fantastic. And yes, she needs to beat Mercedes Money. Maybe not now. Maybe they have Kamille help out and then we build another match and then she beats her, but she needs to beat her. Yes. The only thing with all of this, and Mariah may be all over my screen. I was just saying how she doesn't feel important. Okay, now she is, because now she's rivaling with Willow and Britt Baker. That's what I'm talking about. Put her in those spots where she's not just wrestling a girl from Mortal Kombat. She's wrestling somebody, important and so on, that is actually going to move the needle for the best title you have in your women's division. But the conglomeration, I have to say, and I know they do this with Orange Cassidy and he's part of the conglomeration, but we got too much of that. They were on Rampage, Collision, Dynamite, and I feel like it's been like that for the past month or so.
Yeah.
And they keep like Willow is in the conglomeration again. Y'all just made a shirt with faces on it, and you just have all these other people in it. I don't know. I just feel like it's a hot mess. And can we please, we got people who can talk on the mic in the conglomeration. Can we please take it away from Mark Britt? Is this like an inside joke? That they're like, dude, Mark Briscoe's so bad that it's good. So let's just keep having him talk every week, gibberish and not make sense, because it's funny. Like I don't get it.
The thing that really disappoints me about the conglomeration is Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, he has gone from he was like a serious hardcore wrestler. He was a third of the Undisputed Era, and he was part of Adam Cole's first group, Undisputed Elite, when he came into AEW, and now he's like a comedy act almost. And with the conglomeration, he's over here, the Mark Briscoe saying something, and he's pretending to be a fan. And the crowd goes wild, making the crowd noises, and he's like lip syncing to things, and it's really, really bizarre. What they're doing with him. I mean, maybe it's taking him, it's showing his layers and his ability of what he can do, which I guess he has a little bit more in there than I thought he did. but
Mhm.
I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it with them.
No, the whole conglomeration. That's what I'm saying. It's just too
Yeah.
much. And stop giving Mark Briscoe the time. Let's talk about one more thing before we jump into Dynamite. That's Private Party. The tag team division has been a joke in AEW for a long time. Their champions are a joke. And what do? They decide, hey, F it. Let's just focus on one. It did come out of nowhere. I don't think Private Party should be where they are. They were literally a tag team losing. Now all of a sudden they're just beating everybody and the likes of House of Black. But well done, right? If you want to build a story, you want to build a competitor.
Yeah.
Private Party is doing. They already beat the Young Bucks. Then they go on and beat House of Black, and we'll talk about Dynamite. They are doing what they need to do to at least make Private Party feel like a threat. Because I know when we do our predictions, you're probably up in the air about it. So that means they're doing correct booking. So good on them for booking Private Party, even if it's out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I think that's my issue. Like I feel like they're doing a lot of the right things, but it all feels oddly done oddly or out of nowhere. Like for example, Kris Statlander going for the TBS championship when she just beat Willow Nightingale, who is going for the women's title and then same thing with Private Party. They just got demolished by the BCC and with Commander and for the trios title. It's not about 2 weeks ago, and now here they are randomly beating everybody and winning a title shot. It's just it's very bizarre how it's done, but I am digging how they're doing it at the same time. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, 100%. But it works, right? And that's wrestling. You can just pull somebody out of nowhere and just have them become a star. All right, let's get into Title Tuesday. Sorry.
Yeah.
I got to say it that way because I think there was more titties on this show than there were title shots.
Titles.
All right.
Yeah. And AEW they have so many damn titles and only defended one. I don't get it.
Like, I don't. Every time they do a title thing, like their little random battle of the belts, there's no titles being. I don't. Stop, Tony. Stop.
It's just because it starts with T's. Yeah, it's alliteration. Yeah.
I would have liked better Taco Tuesday, and they were like everyone who won a match got to eat a bunch of tacos in the ring. That would have been more entertaining.
A Taco Bell commercial again. That would have
been. Dude, I don't know how he's not a sponsor on that.
I know. I would have gone for that.
All right, let's get through it. Jon Moxley opens with a pre-recorded promo about what he will do to Bryan Danielson at Wrestledream. Danielson has a pre-recorded promo right after him, and he says that him and Yuta are winning their match later tonight. Darby Allin in the ring to call out Brody King, who hits the ring. Darby says literally everything he said on Collision, which I didn't really get why he just recycled everything he had just said. They brawl and security breaks it up. Don Callis made a deal with Jake the Snake Roberts to have Lance Archer in his crew moving forward. Daniel Garcia will talk to the crowd later tonight. Hologram defeats Commander in his Dynamite debut to go 14-0. And once again, I heard that's the record. Roosh Dralistico and Beast Mortis attack both guys as Jake the Snake approves. Mark Briscoe says his match with Chris Jericho is personal. Daniel Garcia has a promo to announce he signed with AEW because that's what they do there. And he's a new Daniel Garcia who's going after belts. Swerve, isn't this like the 5th time it's been a new Daniel Garcia? Swerve Strickland will be at WrestleDream. Mercedes Money talks backstage. Shibata tells Daniel Garcia he'll give him a shot at the title once he wins it. Willow Nightingale wins a 4-way because Britt Baker could not make Dynamite, so that changed. She earns a shot at Mariah May, who attacks her after the match. The Learning Tree. Hi, guys. Tell Rocky Romero he can do better, and I guess they don't care about Mark Briscoe. Jay White wins a squash match. He wants Hangman at WrestleDream, and he gets it. Hook is looking for his dad still. He's looking for his dad's murderers or something. I don't know. And Christian Cage tells him he's sympathetic because he lost Killswitch to a medical situation, which we now have talked about what it was. Willow attacks Mariah May backstage and then cuts a promo. In the only title match on Title Tuesday, Mercedes Moné beats somebody. After the match, Kris Statlander runs her off. Stokely wants to work with Private Party. They are kind of meh about it. They're kind of split about it. We'll see. They are and then what am I missing? I can't even read my own about Will Ospreay in the ring with Will Ospreay's in the ring with Don Callis, and he's deciding that he is going to leave the family. Takeshita attacks him from behind. Kyle Fletcher won't attack Will Ospreay, and Ricochet makes the save. Top Flight argue with each other backstage again. Jack Perry calls out Shibata and tells him to come take this title. And in the main event, Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta do defeat Claudio and Pac. After the match, Danielson and Moxley brawl to the back. We will continue on with them. Never mind. We're back to Pac and Claudio dumping Yuta in the ring. Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley end up brawling back to the ring. Bryan Danielson lays everybody out and stands tall to close the show. And that is Title Tuesday in review. So much. That's the longest review I've ever had.
Yeah, so much was put into that 2 hours. And
it was.
If they did, I said this before when we were talking about the ratings, but if they didn't call this episode Title Tuesday, I think it would have been a really good episode of Dynamite. But the fact that they called it Title Tuesday, and I think maybe only one title was defended, it's just ridiculous. But a lot of good stuff happened on this show. And I was Googling while you were talking. Wasn't Hook undefeated for like a year before he?
Thank you. But they announced. Yeah. Did I hear that wrong?
Yeah, I think they've said it. Like it's an AEW record.
Yeah.
And Jade Cargill was undefeated for
forever. She was like 30 or 40. No, she was like almost 50-0.
Yeah. So and then Kris Statlander came in and beat her. But so I mean, revisionist history. WWE does this all the time, and WCW did it with Goldberg's record. They inflated it big time, but. Yeah, it's always revisionist history, but who knows? But good for Hologram, I guess, for having a 15-match winning streak or whatever it is.
14 at the moment. Yeah, he'll have 15 coming up. All right, so we got to break this down fast. What do you like about it? What do you got?
I like that they told stories. I like that it was a very promo-heavy episode of Dynamite. The Don Callis thing was a little bizarre with him trading for Lance Archer to Jake the Snake, and Jake the Snake couldn't even come into the ring. It was just, all of it was really, really bizarre. And then the segment with Will Ospreay at the end kind of felt like a Temu version of the Bloodline story, with Don Callis playing the role of Roman Reigns and Will Ospreay playing the role of Sami Zayn, and Kyle Fletcher playing the role of Jey Uso, because Kyle Fletcher didn't want to touch Will Ospreay. He didn't want to go after Will Ospreay. He handed him a screwdriver. It was like, I can't do it. And he left the ring. And then the rest of the Don Callis family, including Takeshita, was beating down Will Ospreay. So I thought it was very, very like a Wish.com version of the Bloodline story. But again, they're telling a story, and I can't knock it.
And I like it because now coming up, we're wondering, right? Is Kyle Fletcher going to help Will Ospreay win, or is Kyle Fletcher going to cost Will Ospreay the match? Overall, we know Ricochet is not winning, but is it going to be Takeshita? Is it going to be, Will Ospreay? So I do like the intrigue on that. Something I don't like intrigue on was Daniel Garcia. I'm so tired of AEW guys signing contracts and then announcing it on AEW. It sounds so Bush League. I've said this about AEW forever. Swerve did it. We keep doing this to where, I signed a contract. How many guys in the WWE have announced their contract signings on broadcast? None. Drew McIntyre didn't. They had a video on it that they post on the social media, which is fine, but he didn't come out and go, look at the sword he got me. I signed 8 years. I'm here forever. WWE rules. Go Triple H. It's like, why are you just come out and say it's Daniel Garcia version 18.0, new version of me. I'm going to get. And here's the other thing too. We have seen this. Daniel Garcia is so damn talented. The fact that he signed with AEW to me is mind-boggling. I think he would have a way better run going to NXT and building his way. And I don't say that about everybody, but I don't think Daniel Garcia belongs in AEW, and it's been shown. That'd be like Wardlow signing a new contract with AEW. You're not being utilized correctly. You've been teased of having pushes. Why am I going to believe that all of a sudden now you're going to start fighting for titles? This is the 20th, 30th, 40th time I've heard this. And so that whole Daniel Garcia thing did absolutely nothing for me. And I love Daniel Garcia. So
I like him too. And I mean, I get it's a good get for AEW. I just want them to use him properly. And that's, we haven't seen them use him properly yet. Now he does have a win over MJF at All Out. So, or actually, no, MJF beat him, didn't he?
No, he doesn't win over any. No, he don't win. He always gets the "You Tried" award. Right. He gets he gets the he gets the Javon Evans award, where like you get a title shot because you tried. But
hopefully, he turns it around. I feel like he's so talented in the ring. The crowd loves him. He's got a good look. he's decent on the microphone. So
Mhm.
hopefully they turn it around. And I think Jack Perry's a perfect opponent for him with the TNT Championship. I think that's where he
Yes.
should start going. The one thing though is I don't like it when wrestlers cut a promo and they're like, if you hold a belt, I'm coming for you. So why wouldn't you want to just go after the world title? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like now you're like, oh, I'm gonna go after the Continental Championship, or I'm gonna though that ROH Pure Championship sure is looking good. Like, no, like if I'm sorry, like if I'm not gonna go after any title holder. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
after the top prize in the company.
I agree.
So that's always been a weird thing for wrestlers to say.
Yeah. One more negative, then you can end it off with whatever positive you want. But I did not like this Mark. I liked for the first time ever the Mark Briscoe promo. It was in depth. He dropped his thing. He wasn't trying to say scoop. He wasn't trying to talk like the water boy. He just straight
Yeah.
went to it. It felt real. His brother really did pass away. Chris Jericho really did say a bad line. It felt intense. And what do we follow that up with? Chris Jericho trying to find Rocky Romero to tell him it's bad that he's in the conglomeration. What the fuck? What are we doing? Like, do you not care? Like, I don't know.
I
It just
do
really
not
took
care.
me out of
Yeah.
that match.
I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
answered. Yeah. I don't get it because that's the thing. It's like you finally got a serious Mark Briscoe, so now we got to get a
Mhm.
corny, goofy Chris Jericho. Why can't they
Yeah.
both be in? And again, ROH Championship on AEW. Like, I don't care about this
Yeah.
belt, so stop it.
Mhm.
But you're gonna force it down my throat. Then at least give us like a passionate promo from Jericho and a passionate promo from Mark Briscoe where they drop their gimmick, they drop their act, and they
Mhm.
talk to each other kind of out of character but in character a little bit,
Yeah.
and talk about what they're going to do to each other at WrestleDream. But no,
Yeah.
we had to follow up with something serious with something campy.
And why couldn't Jericho just say why he said the line? You know what I mean? Defend himself in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. It was all pretty bizarre. All right. What do you want to end with? What else you got?
Yeah, I want to talk about the women's 4-way match. Like we talked about Tony Khan booking this match on TikTok, a TikTok account that he hasn't used in 2 years.
Yeah.
And first of all, I don't know, go watch that TikTok video if you haven't, because it is awkward AF.
Yes.
We're gonna have Saraya, and then we're gonna have Jamie Hayter. Like, it was just very, very awkward, and like he's just
so on the money,
all over the place. And like, why are you yelling, dude? I don't get it. But we all knew Willow was getting the title shot. They've been telling that story. She's been calling out Mariah May. She's been staring. So all of a sudden, Mariah May or Willow Nightingale has to go in a 4-way match. I mean, it made sense when it was Britt Baker, because Britt Baker was telling the story of like, hey, I'm back and she has something that I want. So when Britt Baker couldn't make it, why not just give Willow the match at WrestleDream and give them a promo against each other instead of a 4-way? Because you had Jamie Hayter in this match. You had Saraya, who just lost a Saraya rules match. So how is she going to get a women's title shot?
I was very confused on that. Yeah.
And then who was the other women in? I don't even remember who the other woman in it was, but
it was all former champs. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all former champs. It was where is it? It was Nyla Rose, who we haven't seen her, Willow, Saraya, and Jamie Hayter. You just brought Jamie Hayter back, and she's trying to climb up the ranks, so she can't really afford to lose right now. And then you have Saraya, who just lost a Saraya rules match to Jamie Hayter. So how does she get a title? Like, it's the booking that doesn't make it. And then you have Kris Statlander going for the TBS championship when she just beat Willow, who's going for the women's title. It's so convoluted, and I don't understand it. The booking it makes no logical sense. But I thought the match was okay, but we all knew the outcome. We knew that Willow was going to win, so they should have just done a promo or something between Willow and Mariah.
Or even, she's afraid to face me, or best wishes, or just have her just face one person and move on. She didn't have to face it in a 4-way. But nonetheless, I've talked about execution with AEW, that they have good ideas, but the poor execution. But good things that they did do. The women's division overall, we got more Willow, Mariah May brawling. I'm super excited about that match. We got more Kris Statlander, Mercedes Money, and Kamille, which I'm super excited about. Still pushing that. We got more stuff with Jon Moxley and the BCC and and their hype with the ending, which was done fantastic. More build with Private Party. I mean, with Stokely maybe trying to have it was. I feel like overall this was a great show. And once again, the difference is that they focused on promos. They focused on building stories. They didn't have a whole bunch of 45-minute matches. And that's what AEW needs to do. And that's why I don't think we need to give up on them yet, because it's going to take time to get those ratings up. And obviously, AEW hardcore fans, Tony Khan knows it needs to be more WWE to get those ratings up. That's the nature of the beast. You can still be different, which they are, and not have to be not pro wrestling. So
a lot of their, and one of the cool things for me is Wheeler Yuta is kind of the X factor in this Bryan Danielson match. And it's pretty intriguing because on Collision, Wheeler Yuta and Claudio had a moment backstage, and he was like, what has Bryan ever done for you? I've always had your back. Bryan's always been in for himself. And he pats him on the back, and he was like, I'll always have your back, and walks away. And then this episode of it ends of Dynamite with Bryan Danielson doing the yes, 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 while Wheeler Yuta's like lying dead in the ring after he just got his ass kicked. And Bryan Danielson's not checking on him. So it's like, okay, is there a little tension there? Is there something? Did Claudio have a point? So I do like the story.
We'll get into that, right?
They're telling.
Yeah. With our predictions, we'll see how off we are. And that's the other thing with Wrestledream too. These predictions are kind of hard because of the way they are telling stories. It's not predictable because there's actual build to it, which makes us think it can go either way, when in most cases they're just putting matches together for fun, and so they're easy to predict. But yeah, are we moving on to it? So while you get the song ready, great week in AEW. So good job, because I thought Rampage, and I know that the ratings hurt. Keep your head up. Keep doing products like this. Your ratings will go up. Let's get into it, my man. Wrestledream predictions.
It's prediction time. Before it ever happens, it's a prediction. Lean in close, take notes, listen. Cause they about to point it out quickly. All the things that you didn't see is getting called like plays at the line of scrimmage. You can take it to the bank, the dudes ain't tripping. They've been seeing what's coming for a good minute. It's prediction time, yeah, let's get it.
I gotta say, this thing is pretty. You got two dudes muscling it up, right? Doing their normal Young Bucks muscle. We got Swerve doing the Booker T, but on the other side, we do have the hand where Will Ospreay's doing the Darth Vader, and then we have Darby Allin in his pink jacket. I don't know, eating it. But then we got like the faces up top, and then we kind of got Mercedes doing the hand thing.
But she's not even on the show. Yeah.
No, I don't. Yeah, why is she front and center too? She's like the biggest piece of this. All right, and then just Mariah May, oh my God, marry me. All right,
put her front and center.
Yeah, I would. All right, let's get into it. Wrestledream prediction time. We're starting off with Darby Allin versus Brody King. Who do you got?
And I kind of put these together based on how I think the card's going to go. I think they're going to open up with the boy from Washington, and they're going to close it with the boy from Washington with Bryan Danielson. So, yeah, I gotta go Darby Allin. I feel like he's due for a win. He gave up his title shot to Jon Moxley. He lost everything that he had. He made this open challenge to Brody King. I like Brody King. I think Brody King's fantastic. I think this is going to be a great match, but I have to go Darby Allin. He can't take another loss, especially if he says he's the face of the company. Like the face of the company can't be losing, but he's not the face of the company. But it's what he said in his promo. So.
Well, yeah, and I didn't even want to get into it. Like, once again, I've told you how I feel about little dudes thinking they're tough guys on AEW. Yeah. Darby Allin was like, who's gonna call out? I didn't think so. Nobody want to face me. You see this pink jacket I'm wearing, all 120 pounds of me? Like, who the hell is afraid of Darby? And then we had Hook with this beanie again. Hey, what up, SA? Like, whoever wants to mess with my dad is gonna get it.
It was so weird.
5'2" of me.
That whole thing was, both of those promos were weird because Darby Allin was like, Brody, all you had to do was ask. No, you issued an open challenge.
Yes.
It. And then Hook was like, I'm going to find the person who murdered my dad. Say it to my face. I was like, wait, say what to your face? Like,
yes. No, yes. But he was in his best Cholo impression with his head all the way up, his eyes low. Like, yeah, man, I'm hood, man. I'm hood. Like, no, you're not, Hook. You're a freaking 5'2" pounded. Like, anyway, Darby Allin's winning. There's no, if he loses, then why are we even having Darby Allin on here anymore? Darby Allin has to win. Brody King does nothing right now. All right, the match we've all been looking for: Hologram versus Beast Mortis. Who is going? Oh, it's 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense because you can't have Hologram lose one of them because that counts as an
No.
L, right?
So
All right, so why is Beast Mortis going to win? Go ahead.
he's not. It's going to be Hologram, and he's going to win. He's going to sweep him. It's going to be 2 falls, 2-0.
It has to be. You can't have him win 2 falls to 1 and then say he's undefeated. That's not how it works. So
even though he technically wins the match, no, he got pinned.
Yeah, Hologram wins. All right, we started off easy so far, I think. What's next? Oh, it's the Water Boy versus Chris Jericho for the ROH Championship. Who do you got? This is a hard one to predict.
Yeah. I'm going to go Chris Jericho. I think Jericho's going to win. I think Rocky Romero is going to turn on the conglomeration and join the learning tree. And Chris Jericho is going to become the Nueve and win the ROH World title.
Jericho 100% is winning. That's what he does. He grants himself title shots, beats the people for the titles, and then thinks he is booking them properly to build them. And a turn would make sense on why he completely ignored Mark Briscoe at Dynamite and talked to Rocky Romero. We shall see. But anyway, hi guys. Jericho has another title in the learning tree, and I'm sure he'll call it something else. All right, we got tag team title matches. We got the Young Bucks versus Private Party. Who do you got?
I'm going to go Private Party. I think they're going to be the ones to they're AEW originals. They've been there since day one ish. And they are kind of the kryptonite to the Young Bucks. I don't think the Bucks have really ever defeated them. They've beaten the Bucks before. And I think it's time for the Bucks to drop the tag team titles. The tag team division right now is really, really feels like it's starting to come back up, kind of on the come up a little bit, with the Outrunners and GYV and Private Party doing their thing. So MXM Collection, the Acclaimed. I'm going to go Private Party. I think it's time to really showcase the tag division and put the belts on a team that's going to be there.
I fully agree with everything you said. I have the Young Bucks winning. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Just because they're winning don't mean I think it's right. So
right. No,
everything you said, I agree, but the Young Bucks, they are what they are.
Them to drop the belts.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we got the title match. What is this? This is the International Championship between champion Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita. Another one, hard one to predict. Who do you got?
I think Takeshita is gonna come home with the international title. I think there's a reason they did that whole segment with the Don Callis family. I think it's actually going to be Lance. I don't think Kyle Fletcher's going to turn yet. I think he will eventually, but I think it'll be Lance Archer that costs Will Ospreay and Ricochet. He'll come out and take them both out, and Takeshita will get the win. The newest member of the DCF.
Yeah, I gotta get a shirt. This is so hard because I don't know if they're ready, because if they take it off Will Ospreay, he's not moving into the title contention yet. So I don't see what they do with him. I think he needs the championship at the moment. I can't say every match is going to have somebody turn in favor of somebody losing a title as well, because I'm predicting that in a few matches from now. So I'm gonna go Will Ospreay keeps it. Lance Archer does come out. I think they beat him down afterwards, and then we're going to move on from Ricochet, who will go into Wardlow World, like as I predicted, and we will get Will Ospreay versus Takeshita 2, and then maybe Takeshita will win it there and have a turn from Kyle Fletcher or something. But I think this is the build to that. So I'm going to keep it with Will Ospreay at the moment.
All right. Yeah.
But I can see it either way.
Either way, Ricochet's not getting it. Not yet.
No, not ever. All right. We got the championships of the TNT title. Jack Perry versus Shibata. Who do you got, and why is it Jack Perry?
It's Jack Perry all day, every day. He's not dropping this belt anytime soon. I think I said before, I think he's going to drop it to, or he's going to face Adam Copeland, who never dropped the belt, to the guy that won it after he left. So I think that's what they're holding out for. And he could come back on He could come back on Saturday at WrestleDream, but I don't know. I don't know if he'll be able to. I don't know if he will. But either way, Jack Perry's winning.
I fully agree. Jack Perry's winning this. Tony Khan is all over this dude. I don't blame him, but he's all over this dude. He's not doing all this pushing him and following him in a helicopter, recording him driving down roads to just have him lose the belt. So I got Jack Perry winning this match. Isn't that how they do it? I don't know. I'm assuming you got to get it from the sky. Oh, Mike, hold on. Whew. I almost fainted.
Be right back.
Let me get my. Let me.
Both of them. Both of these.
Timeout. You know what? Willow is bad, but Mariah May is like she's like chiseled out of like God wanting to make perfection, and he like just put Mariah May. Even her nose is perfect, and I know it's different, but that's what makes it perfect. Anyway, who do you got in this match? Mariah May versus Willow for the women's championship.
I think it's going to be Mariah May. I don't think it's time for her to drop the title yet. This is really her first real defense since beating Toni Storm and All In. So I think Mariah May wins.
It's got to be Mariah May, an absolute banger. Willow will not lose anything from this. Mariah May will probably find a way to cheat. Maybe that girl that she all of a sudden just disappeared, that she wanted to return. Whatever happened to her? She wanted her to return, and then she returned, and now she's off.
And I could see
for 2 weeks.
I can see Toni Storm coming back too and setting up like future Mariah May and her little partner versus Willow Nightingale and Toni Storm, because Toni Storm will be a babyface. So all kinds of ways they can go with this.
Yeah. But either way, Mariah May wins. Willow still looks good. All right. What's next? Oh, man. We got Hangman Page seen here taking a huge dump and versus Jay White. Who do you got? Is he not?
He always looks like that. Yeah.
I know. Why does he take the worst pictures? Like, I don't know. I guess he got to look intense, but all right. Who do you got? This one's hard.
Yeah, it's got to be Jay White. I feel like this is the match that's going to kind of get him back. I mean, he said in his promo that he's got to right one of these two wrongs, and Hangman Page is the reason he didn't win the Owen Hart Cup. And so he's going to take him out. And then the other wrong, it was Christian Cage that put him on the shelf, but I don't know if he was talking about Christian Cage or if he's talking about MJF, because MJF beat him at Worlds or last year at one of the pay-per-views. I can't remember, Full Gear. So I don't know which one he's talking about, but either way, I think Jay White's winning. Hangman Page can afford a loss because it helps with his character even more, kind of makes him even more unhinged.
I see. My thing is, because you say it has to be Jay White. I mean, Hangman Page literally was on a losing streak. That was like his gimmick, right? That he was back in this, but he kept losing. Then he finally beat Swerve Strickland. He got a win, and now his next match he's going to lose again. Out of the two, Hangman can lose, because if Jay loses, what's the point? So I'm going to go with Jay White.
My point. Yeah,
I'm going to go with Jay White, but I mean, poor Hangman. I mean, he's doing his best he's ever done. Let's reward him soon, hopefully. But yeah, absolutely. Jay White, I'm glad he's back. This match is going to be a banger. All right, Swerve Strickland returns. Tell me why. What is he saying? Let's go.
Well, they've been teasing all kinds of things. Prince Nana no longer being associated with him. Bobby Lashley could be coming back or debuting with the Hurt Business with Shelton Benjamin and MVP. He's also from the state of Washington, and that's where this pay-per-view is taking place. So he could just be there to say hi, guys, and good luck and God bless. But yeah, I mean, I could see Swerve Strickland coming back and going after Adam Page again and costing him the match against Jay White. I mean, it just says he's returning. Doesn't really say that he's doing anything. Doesn't say he's going to be cutting a promo. So he could interfere in the Jay White Adam Page match, which he very well could, and cost Adam Page that match. Or he could do something with MVP in that group in the Hurt Business. Yeah. So I'm intrigued either way.
Yeah, it's only 9 matches on this card, so I'm going to go with he is going to talk, because usually there's 27 matches. So Tony Khan wants to hit that 5-hour mark on his pay-per-view. So Swerve will talk. I think we're going to have Prince Nana, MVP. Swerve comes out, has to decide. He's going to stick with his boy Prince Nana, and Bobby Lashley is going to jump him from behind and beat the living snot out of him.
You got to have a big moment at this
pay-per-view. Yeah. Starting a Swerve Strickland babyface turn, even though he's never truly a babyface because he's so evil. But yeah, and we'll move on to Swerve versus the Hurt Business 2.0. So yeah.
No, I'm down for that. We got to have a big moment and a big debut, and I feel like that's the perfect time to do it.
Yeah. All right, and in the main event, which might be the hardest match to predict, in my opinion, only because Bryan Danielson stood tall at the end of Dynamite. That really shocked me. Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. Is this Brian Danielson's last match? Who do you got?
I made a video, and this actually surprised me with the reaction that I got from people. But I made a video on TikTok asking how people would feel if Christian Cage came in and cashed in his little contract, and all these people. I thought Christian Cage was beloved, but everyone was like, "No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
absolutely not. Oh, I don't want that old man winning a belt." Blah blah blah. Like, what? Whoa, that would make me. I was like, seriously? Like, I thought this man was fantastic. So I don't think they're going to go that route anymore, especially with Moxley talking in riddles about someone controlling him. So I think Danielson is going to survive a hard-fought fight. There's going to be weapons and stuff, but Danielson's going to survive because he's not dropping that belt just yet. They would be doing the Bryan Danielson retirement tour. But I do think something happens. I think maybe Shane McMahon makes his debut in AEW to close the show.
God, this is hard. Danielson going to retire, but Moxley can't take an L. I'm going to say it. I think Bryan Danielson won this title and didn't want it long. I think Jon Moxley wins with the help of Wheeler Yuta turning on Bryan Danielson.
I could see
aligning
that too.
back with them. And then we move forward with Jon Moxley doing whatever he wants to do. My only weird thing is with Moxley winning is that what do you do after? Because this entire turn has been based off of the fact that he doesn't want Bryan Danielson to have the title. So that does make me think he doesn't win. I can see what you're saying 100%. Bryan Danielson finds a way to squeak out a win. Maybe he gets help. Maybe Wheeler Yuta goes the other way and costs Jon Moxley, and then we get them again down the road. That is what I'm hoping. I am hoping that happens, that Moxley takes a cheap L because of Wheeler Yuta, and then we move forward and have more Mox and Danielson, because I think I said in a TikTok that I posted that this is too big of a match to just all rush into it. I'm hoping that, but my gut just thinks Bryan Danielson is hurt and he does need to heal. And I think he just wanted to get people over, and he wrestled Nigel McGuinness, and now he's wrestling Jon Moxley. I think this was his plan, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. This might be a miss, but I'm going to go Moxley for the
Do you think we find out who's running this new BCC? You think Shane McMahon makes his debut? Do you think somebody else comes out?
Not at a WrestleDream. I think we'll find that out at a bigger and better show. Yeah. And I truly don't think it's Shane McMahon, but who knows?
We'll see. I don't think it is either, but maybe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Those are our predictions, y'all. Now let's get into our favorite segment of the week, and that is our least valuable dude and most valuable dude, our dudettes of the week. We'll start with Ryan. Who do you got? Who's your least valuable dude or dudette of the week?
This one's easy peasy lemon squeezy. It is none other than the newest tag team on the AEW roster, the Grizzled Young Veterans. I don't understand. Like, these guys, I was excited when they made their debut, but ever since then, all they've done is lose. And then on Collision this week, they lost to the Outrunners. Now, the Outrunners are getting over. The Outrunners are kind of it feels like they're the 2024 version of the Acclaimed. They're getting over organically. The crowd loves them. They are doing like these little backstage skits and these vignettes and stuff with FTR and all these kinds of things. So the fans love these guys. But man, Grizzled Young Vets were brought here to boost that tag team division, and they were brought here to win matches. And they just haven't done that since they've been a tag team. It kind of makes me feel like Schism wasn't such a bad idea after all. But yeah, Grizzled Young Vets, my LVDs of the week.
Yeah, great pick. That's who I was going to pick. We're on the same page. I don't know if they shit in Tony Khan's coffee, but they appeared and they went straight to the titles, and then they never got a title shot and have done nothing but lose since. No idea what happened. And
do not get it.
And I'm not getting these Outrunners. I don't dig it. I thought the whole
I don't get them either.
Cheesy and dumb. I mean, I get why you're doing it. Yeah, so it's working. So keep doing it. But yeah, it is what it is. All right. Most valuable dude or dudette. Who do you got?
I'm going Wheeler Yuta. I feel like he's the X factor. He had a great match with Beef this week on Collision. But I feel like I said earlier, he's the X factor in this Bryan Danielson thing. He could be the reason Bryan Danielson retains. He could be the reason that Bryan Danielson loses. But this whole thing, I feel like, has brought him, yes, it's made Jon Moxley look strong. Claudio's done more. Pac has looked like devilish. But I feel like this has brought Wheeler Yuta up to a whole new level as well. So we could have a new potential star on our hands with Wheeler Yuta if they do it correctly. But either as the biggest babyface in the company who helps Bryan Danielson, or the biggest heel in the company who helps Jon Moxley and retires Bryan Danielson. So either way, Wheeler Yuta this week was really, really good. His match was great. His selling ability is fantastic. His in-ring work is great. And then the backstage promo that he had with Claudio and Pac on Collision was fantastic. So Wheeler Yuta, MVD.
Great pick. Great pick. I got to go with the hottest people in AEW right now, and that's Private Party. These guys got wins on Rampage, on Collision, are getting recruited by Stokely on Dynamite, got a title shot. That word that you predicted they're going to win, it's up in the air. They are hot right now. I think they are definitely the winners of this week. Barely over Wheeler Yuta, but with them getting those title shots and moving forward,
that's a big,
I'm excited for it. So yeah, I got to go with Private Party.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
It was a good week for a lot of people. Willow Nightingale had a great week. Yeah, it was Private Party had a great week, but yeah, I like Private Party. That's a good pick.
I agree. All right, that's our AEW edition. Next week should be a jam-packed show because we're going to go over the Wrestledream results, over Dynamite to see if they get over that rating slump and get back to their norm and how they respond to it and moving forward. Are we going to get MJF back, which I think they so desperately need? I know he's filming a movie, but dude, desperate times call for desperate measures. It's one night. So let's see what we got. Adam, so many people. So we got that coming. So please tune in. Keep subscribing, keep listening, keep watching. As always, if you want to hear my TikToks, I post a ton. Sometimes they get views, sometimes they don't. So go help me get some views at HBD Denton on all social media. And with me, as always, is my brother from another mother.
At Ryan Enjoys Wrestling, same thing. Go follow me on all the social media platforms. Go follow us on TikTok at 2DudesPC. Go hit us up on X at 2Dudes, or hit us up on TikTok at 2Dudes with Attitudes. Hit us up on X at 2DudesPC. And then go follow us here on YouTube, where we have 1,261 followers now. So we want to get to 100 by the end of October. I think we can certainly make that happen. Go follow us on Twitch, where we're live now every week doing our live podcast episodes. So go follow us there at 2Dudes_ with Attitudes. And if you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, thank you for all the love and support. Go leave us a 5-star rating and review, and tell everyone why you love your 2 dudes.
I agree. 2 Dudes Wolfpack. We out.
Let's go. It's the 2 dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking. So let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton. They here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E. The 2 dudes with the attitudes that bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.